Let's get this out of the way now. Maneater is nuts. This open water RPG lets players live out their shark power fantasies in glorious fashion, letting players feed on both aquatic life and humans that get too close to the water. The game doesn't come without its fair share of predators that threaten to ruin your day, however, so your journey comes with some challenges. All of this while the entire game is narrated by a well-known actor and comedian. The story is a revolving door of revenge, with your playable shark character wanting revenge on antagonist Scaly Pete for killing your mother, which so happened to be a descendant of the shark that ate his father. Scaly Pete is the host of in-game TV show Maneater, a reality show that follows Pete and his son Kyle on their shark hunting adventures. Maneater the show, and subsequently Maneater the game as well, are narrated by Chris Parnell and serves as the vessel by which the game's exposition is told to the player. I found this to be a fairly clever delivery system for the game's story, despite my personal dislike for the voice actor himself. The main quest of Maneater is a bit simple, almost to its detriment. Early quests have players consume groups of small passive wildlife, collect nutrient caches, destroy landmarks, and defeat apex predators. Sadly, the variation in the quest doesn't change much as the game progresses. Maneater often has you consume the same species within a biome several times, which gets stale really quickly. Thankfully, the main quest is actually somewhat short, and I was able to roll credits in roughly 8 hours with minimal side quest completion. It took me around 10 to 12 hours to get to 100% completion, so if you are interested in a short action RPG, this one's for you. Some of the most interesting quests were the simplest, having players destroy aptly named landmarks, which are more often than not fun pop culture references. Some standouts include a sunken frozen banana stand, which is a nod to Arrested Development, and a deserted survivor's island complete with makeshift raft and smiley-faced volleyball, which is a reference to Tom Hanks' Castaway. Locomotion in Maneater is incredibly fluid. I've never played a game that had such a smooth feel to the movement in water. The smooth motion ends abruptly once you get into combat, however, with your bull shark jerking every time you lunge to take a bite at something. Fighting predators in the water is a back and forth battle to get more chomps in before one of you eventually thrashes the loser around, resulting in a pulpy mass left in the water. It can be as fluid or violent as you want it to be, but I often found it to be quite jarring. Things get even more frenetic when you are fighting humans in their fishing boats, doing aerial barrel rolls to dodge gunfire, and leaping out of the water to snatch hunters off their boats. Minor gripes about combat aside, it truly is a pleasure to simply swim around in Maneater. The player progression is pretty straightforward, and has players feeding on wildlife and people to gain health and nutrients needed to evolve their bull shark. Nutrients come in 4 different flavors in the form of proteins, fats, minerals, and mutagen X, and each one helps evolve a different body part of your shark. Speaking of, Maneater lets players evolve their shark's jaw, head, body, fins, and tail, each part capable of being mutated with electricity, along with a couple other mutations. Maneater isn't without its share of shortcomings. A shallow pool of quest variety, twitchy combat, and an underwhelming collection of upgrades all hurt Maneater and make for a meh experience at times. Now earlier, I mentioned the short time to game completion. While this could be considered a negative point for some, I think it actually lessens the blow of the aforementioned complaints about the game, to a degree that it never gets to the point where Maneater overstays its welcome. Maneater is an incredibly frenetic game that gives players the opportunity to explore what it's like to be a shark in a way that hasn't really happened to this degree before. Thrashing wildlife and humans as a giant shark is a mostly satisfying affair, as long as you can get past the jerky motions and repetitious mission structure.